All right, guys. Good afternoon. What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, traders? Welcome back to another Relentless recap, a monthly recap. So, in this one, I'll be going over my stats, my metrics from this month. We'll talk about things that we've done well. We'll talk about things that we can do better. And towards the end, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks when it comes to the trading psychology and how we have to pace ourselves to continue to push forward here over time as day traders. So this is a live video. I will take questions towards the end, but for now, we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk about this month. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So if you're tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, hit that thumbs up and let's jump into it. So this is the calendar of November. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of every single month, red, green, anything in between, we post a video talking about how we performed. And so for November, you guys can see that we started off fairly well. Our first week and a half was pretty decent. We have about 5 green days to 1 red day, and our red day that we had was fairly small. But coming into week number 2, we really didn't do a great job, when it comes to our red days. Pay attention to the size of some of these red days here. 1,000, 1,500, 1,400, 1,000, 1,000, not really so great. So, right off the bat, I'm already seeing that there's something I need to adjust when it comes to losing an incredible amount, right, on these days. But all in all, the calendar does look decent. Our green days are bigger than our red days, right? Our green days are engulfing those red days. And despite having about 8 red days here in the month, we're still able to be green. So, of course, I did put in the thumbnail the amount that we're up. So let's head over to the detailed screen here. And so in gross gains on the month, we're at $27,138.23. Now, in terms of, money, let's zoom out of the market. Let's just take a step back. This is a good amount of money. But, when you start to make it, you're in the position and you're trading every day, and you can see the nuance, you see all the mistakes you're making, you see everything that you're doing good and everything that you can continue to improve on. You start to realize that this kind of money, while again, we're grateful for it and it is good, there's still a lot more to be made, and there's still a lot of money that we leave on the table every day. And I really think, if we can be our best selves, that this number can easily be up to 100,000 per month and more on our better months. So there's a lot of work to be done despite the improvement, right? And so, it's always important to mention, right, that we're grateful because, sometimes, watching on, especially the newer people, they might not know me as well, right? And I definitely don't want to ever sound like I'm complaining, but, there's so much to be done, and, we can see it, right? We can see it in the trading. And so that gives us motivation, right? We're always grateful. And so, we're going to keep working. So $27,000 in a month, definitely going back, versus 4 years ago, my best months were like 4,000, 5,000. It's a huge improvement just over the last 4 years, which is absolutely incredible. So average daily gain of $1,292. Very solid. My volume at 300,000 shares. My volume is still lacking. I told myself, hey, Relentless, this year, you must trade over 500,000 shares of volume per day. Right now, I'm at less than half of that. So even on that side of things, when it comes to me taking on more risk, taking on more share size, buying positions not just once, but twice, being aggressive when the market requires me to do so, I'm not really pushing myself as much as I can, and so there's another area for me to improve. So average winning trade 109, average losing trade $74. Not bad. The Kelly percentage at 13.26. Total number of trades 1,815. So for a lot of people who are watching on who might not be hyper scalpers, this might seem like ludicrous. Right now it's like, oh my gosh, this guy took 1,800 trades. For my style of trade, I'm not aggressive enough. This number should really and truly be at 3,000. So it's a different style, right? It's not the usual, hey, I'm going to buy here, hold for 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sell there. And whilst that way works well too, right? There's no, it's kind of like in our grade school, right? Like there's no wrong answers. Whatever works, works. That's all that matters. And so whether you're buying 10 times a day or a million times a day, as long as it's working. And so I do utilize the free commission route, right? The free commission platforms definitely assist me in this trade style that I use right now. And so, 1,800 total trades. And you can see here, my percentage is actually not even 50%. Again, you go back to grade school, if you have less than like 70%, you're a failing student. And so it just goes to show you that there's multiple factors that leads into someone being profitable. In fact, there are people where their win rate and their win percentage rather would be as low as 20%. And it's funny because we recently attended this seminar in Las Vegas, and one of the big time traders, this is exactly his style, right? His win percentage 20%, loses 80% of the times. So for every five time this guy hits the buy button for a trade, 4 times he's losing. But the one time that he wins, it engulfs those losing trades. He keeps his stop loss tight, and when he connects, and it's like a grand slam. And so there's different reasons as to why someone is profitable despite the win percentage or number of trades they take, right? And these are all things we talk about every day in our live streams. So you guys can, of course, check out the live stream if you're a new viewer, right? Tomorrow we'll be live at 9:15 a.m. market time. So coming up, largest gain, 2,600. Largest loss, 1,300. Guys, in order to be a day trader, you have to be accepting, there's almost like an unwritten contract. All day traders lose money. Now, the ones who are profitable, they make more than they lose. And so they're retaining their gains to a degree, right? And so you have to understand in this field, you will lose. And it's just part of the deal. It's part of what it takes to be successful. And the better you can manage your emotions when you're having losses, ultimately the better trader you will be, right? And so my largest gain, 2,600, you say, hooray, wow, you jump for joy. But then, man, to lose 1,300, and this loss is in an instant. I buy a stock 1 second, I already don't hold too long. My average hold time, as we will come down some more, you guys will see, it's 18 seconds. So I'm in a trade just for a few seconds. It's really like 10 seconds or less, because I do have certain strategies where I hold for a few minutes at a time, which will skew this number here, right? My 5-minute patterns, I hold for like 15, 20 minutes. So they do skew this number here. It's like 5-10 seconds. I buy a stock, I hit buy, 2 seconds later, I'm down 1,300. Going back to when I was working in the workforce at Amazon, that's like a week and a half check right there, versus now it's like it's a mere second. That's the madness that goes on in the market. So you have to be prepared, once you're putting the risk out there, right? And so we always recommend to our newer viewers and our students to start off with small sizing so they don't have to deal with this yet, right? Until you become consistent, it doesn't make sense to be losing money. So coming down on the list here, again, our average hold time winning trades 18 seconds, average hold time losing trades 11 seconds. And this is a big factor here that we're going to look into in our green versus red days. We have work to do, and we will be better in this next month. If the momentum in December is similar to the momentum we had in November, I will do better. There's no way I'm going to allow myself to make the silly mistakes that I was making all month long. The nonsense that I was doing will be eliminated. So max consecutive wins 12, max consecutive losses 13. Coming down, So our performance throughout the day of the week, Monday and Thursday being our best days. Kind of interesting because Tuesday this year has been my best day by far. I haven't made money on Tuesday this month, surprisingly. Just $83. After, the small fees we pay, it's probably red. So we do have gross and then net, right? For those of you who might not have, done any sort of economics, so gross is before any fees. Net is after fees. So we can click on net right here and you guys will see. So let's see the difference. 27,138 to 26,930. About $200 in fees from my broker platform that I use called TD Ameritrade, now owned by Charles Schwab. So yeah, well, it doesn't quite go red, but yeah, I don't pay a ton of fees because I don't trade that much. Again, the number of trades here should really be doubled, for me to be where I need to be. But yeah, that's performance by day of the week. Performance by hour. Let's see, we got 30 minutes. We can go by 30 minutes here. So I did trade in the West Coast this month, so that's why it's showing from 5:30 a.m., which is actually 9:30. It's interesting that the software recognizes that switch in time zone. But anyhows, you guys can see that I'm mostly green throughout the day. Power hour, definitely some good gains there. I'm usually mostly green between 9:30 and let's say, 10:30 a.m. market time. But a lot of my gains came a little later, what's this, like 11? And then, power hour, 2:30 going into 3 p.m. I'm usually mostly green in the first hour and a half, but recognizing that this month momentum is here, and so sticking around the entirety of the day and watching on. Price and volume, anything. So we did our best between 5 and 10, like significantly better here. And in terms of volume, let's see. Where's the outer metric here that I usually look at? I'm actually not seeing it. But anyhows, by volume traded, and let's see. I'm not sure if this is measuring for shares or not, like in terms of my shares, like my personal shares. I'm not too sure there. But yeah, the other metric that I usually look at here, I'm not seeing it. Anyhow, moving on. Instrument, so performance by stock. Which stocks did we do our best on? Which stocks did we do our worst on? So LIFW, we did very well on this one. This was a multi-day runner. We did 5,000 on one day. And then the next day we did, I think, another 3,000 or so. We did have a red day, small red day on it as well, unfortunately. MINM, this was Friday, 4,900. Although, if we had captured that trade we missed, we could have added more, but, it's part of the deal. You'll miss some trades. So not bad. And for our losses, which I like, so it still shows that, sometimes we have a red day over 1K, but we're not really losing over 1K on one stock regularly. We might have a big flush we get caught in, or maybe some, bleeding out over a few trades, but yeah, it's not bad. I mean, this is a huge difference. This is what you want to see as a profitable trader. And I think into this new month, we can reduce this number here and increase this number. It really comes down to discipline and mindset. It's so interesting, the subtlety in the mindset that you need to be successful. You really can't be too high, you can't be too low. You got to be in that Goldilocks zone, and you must stay in that zone even when you're doing well, even when you're doing bad. If you can have that neutrality there, you'll do extremely well. So our performance in relation to the SPY, I don't usually look at this stuff, but there is some overall market involvement, right? Because, as much as we like to think that the small caps are their own island, the events in the overall market does play a role, because at times there will be other sectors and other industries that are more lucrative, and ultimately people will be taking money out of small caps to invest elsewhere as long as it makes sense. And March of this year was a month like that, right? We had the volatility with the banking crisis. There was a lot of fear, and the small cap stocks dried up like a desert. I mean, nothing was moving. We had to trade the banking stocks to survive. And it's one of the good things with our strategy is that if a stock is volatile and the downside risk is limited and there's upside potential, we can stand a chance at making money. So, when we hear things like the Fed pausing interest rates, they're no longer looking to increase rates, that's good news for us too, because ultimately it means that companies will be able to borrow money, cheaply or cheaper, let's say, over time, right? And even for the side of the consumers, there's just going to be more money, right? There's going to be more money. Things are going to cost less. And so that's going to allow companies to do well. That's going to allow individuals like myself and yourself to do well. And we'll see more fluctuation in the market here, more volatility. So win-loss expectation. We talk about losing is a part of being a trader. Guys, throughout every single time I hit the buy button and sell button, there's always something happening. I'm always either winning or losing. And if I told you that you'd have to lose $69,000 on the month to make 27,000, is it something you're willing to do, right? Because some people, they rather the steady, hey, can I be consistently seeing some income over time? Guys, last month I made $1,000. My worst month of the year by far. We've had 5-figure months every single month of the year. Last month I only made $1,000. Day trading at the end of the day is a business. Day trading is a business. And just like any brick and mortar business or online business, there are cycles, right? There's hot periods, there's cold periods, and it's part of the deal. Did I panic last month? No, I did not, right? I understand it comes down to the averages. Also, when we're making money, it's not time to go spend, spend, spend. We have to understand that even on a month like this, there can be a period in time where it's slow. And so I have to make sure I manage, right? I have to manage not only in the market, but out of the market too. If you're trading, if you're not a full-time trader and you have other income, it could be, you still got to manage, but it could be a little different, right? Because, you can have other high income source somewhere else and, it's a little different. Yeah, but this I hate seeing this number here, but it reminds me as to why I need to be more disciplined, because ultimately I could have easily have less red days. It comes down to those in the moment decisions and the discipline of it all. Allowing too much fear to come in and not taking trades where I know trades. Imagine, it's quite different when you're new and you're trying to figure out what to do versus when you've been around and you know what to do and you're not doing it. It's a totally different thing. There's nothing worse than sitting here knowing when I should be buying and when I should be cutting, and then because of whatever emotion I'm feeling at the time, I'm making mistakes, holding a trade too long, getting tunnel vision in some areas, being too aggressive in others. That stuff is extremely costly. And you really and truly know what you should be doing it, but at times you don't. And it sounds so silly, but it's like, it's the hardest thing, man. It's the hardest thing to come in here every day and not make the mistakes. It's like you have to fight the urge. You have to fight the urge. It's like you're fighting against your very own human nature. And that's what discipline is. Do we want to go out and party? Of course we do, But there's a million and one different things people want to do, right? But, it's like it comes down to discipline. There's a lot of similarities between trading and life, whether it's like spiritually, emotionally, when it comes to like relationships and all these things, like no matter where you go, discipline is going to have to be a thing that you have to, that you have to live by if you want to see progress, if you want to succeed. And ultimately we have to choose our hard. Do we want to potentially be able to do something extraordinary? And are we going to do everything necessary to be successful? Or are we going to half-ass it and then in the end have the regret of not going full force. You know, we need to, it's like in this field, and even not in all other things outside of the market, it's like you really have to be like an extremist. And that's hard to do, and it's hard to have balance when you're like that. But it's also what's required. So, we ultimately just have to, assess ourselves, see what it is that we want the most. And if this is what's required, then we don't have a choice. It's part of the contract. We don't actually sign a contract, but if we are to sign a contract, that's what will be on the contract, right? So this is the next important section right here. The section that wants to make me pull my eyeballs out when I see the nonsense of the red days that I had. Just look at these 8 red. First of all, this is way too many red days. And if we come back, if we let's come to the calendar. I'm gonna get back on track this month with less red days. I know what I need to do. If we look at the earlier months, January, 4 red days, February, 4 red days. Okay, March, we kind of slipped up a little bit, but then we got back on track. April, May, June, July. Again, August was another month where we kind of had a few more, but it's still another good month. Here, I kind of like consciously made a decision to just, be more aggressive, but I've been doing it in some poor areas, and again, those split-second decisions in the moment, right? Being more aware of how I feel and to combat the emotion real time. Like that $3,000 a day was that type of day, it's like I kind of start to feel very like cornered, right? It's like crap. I'm trading, and this has nothing to do with the live stream or none of this stuff. It's like I'm trading and I'm just wrong, and I'm wrong, and I start to like second guess the entries that I know and love, right? There's a system for this stuff. There's a system because we understand the market is not linear. The market isn't going like this. The market is going like this, right? And so the system is relentless when it's choppy, size down, but continue to be just as aggressive as you normally would be. If the day does happen to be a red day under those circumstances, you had a very great day. You did exactly what you needed to do, and you managed risk. But what happens is that I start to hesitate, second guess, and then before you know it, the entries that are coming that are actually working, I'm missing all of them. When I should have already been back green, when I should have already been, back flat. Here I am, missing all the trades, and sometimes even chasing the entry and then going more into the red. Stuff that if mentally I'm stronger, it'll be, it'll be more efficiency. And that's the aim. So, I got to get back to business. I got to get back to, being more disciplined and being more, like, I got to get angry in a good way, right? I kind of have to get angry with myself about losing, right? I've kind of been so mellow about it versus like in months like May, it's like we're gonna make sure we do everything in our power to not, mess up with our emotions along throughout the day, right? Now it's like, okay, red day, whatever, like it doesn't matter, we'll just come back again. Like I need to have that aggression, like, hey, like let's do what we need to do and give ourselves the best odd, right? The best odds. And in doing that, we can get back green on most of these days. So, it's a good month, but December we have work to do, and heading into the New Year's, we need to continue with the aggression, and we'll get to where we need to be. So more months like May, and with this, I mean, just the sea of green that we see there gives you so much confidence. So let's get back to November. Not pretty. It's not pretty, but So on my 8 red days, I essentially lost $1,000 per day. Just imagine if we had cut those red days to like 25% of the size. We're down just 200-300 on the day, or we eliminate some, half of these red days, and we're down just 25% of what we are. instantly adds to the gains here, right? So all that stuff helps. Notice how poor the accuracy is on these red days. And this is the factor right here. Take a look at this. So winning days, 17 seconds, right? My whole time. 18 seconds, okay. Same ballpark. Losing trades on my winning days, 8 seconds. Take a look at this. Losing trades on my red days, 19 seconds. Ding, ding, ding. Here's the culprit. You know, this strategy, man, a wise man once said, breakout or bailout. And, you know, like, shout out to a guy like Tim, who's really been doing a great job at this. Like, there is no second guessing again, right? There's no waiting around. It's like, the stock must do what I think it should, or else I have no business being in the stock. It's that simple, right? So I know what I need to do. And this is why it's great to do reviews, because if you don't do a review, there's a million and one things, and you might not be completely sure where the issue is coming from, right? So I'm holding my losers too long, and that's what's getting me. So we will do whatever is necessary to ensure success, which means cutting the trade very brutally. Drawdown, we had some big drawdowns. We had some big drawdowns due to not cutting our trades. We had some big drawdowns. Let's see, is there anything else? I mean, we can compare the green days versus red days. Other than that, we can answer some questions. Let's see, do they have green versus red, winning versus losing trades? Yeah, other than that, you know, we can, and I guess it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah. So we'll leave up this screen here, and then we will answer some questions. The monthly recap, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what you guys are saying over on YouTube. Day trading, man. Day trading, day trading. You know, some people might ask, like, how's your life changed since, like, being able to make money in the markets? You know, when you're somebody who's coming from nothing, even when you're making money like this now, it really doesn't do anything. Like, you need to be making this kind of money, you know, let's say, yeah, let's say this particular month here, you need to be making this for years on end to accumulate, right? Because things are expensive, right? Whether it's like you know, property, you know, this cost of living. So for me, like a young guy coming up from the slums, you know, when you're coming up from the negatives, you know, it's like you can't even really enjoy this money, right? But yeah, let's bring up these questions. Let's see what you guys are saying here. So, of course, if you're watching on, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. How do you feel about the $1 per share gain? It seems so close to being red. Well, it doesn't bother me at all, not even the slightest. It's the strategy I trade, and you know, this month it has equated to this level of gain. You know, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. We trade very actively. It's hyper scalping, right? We're buying hundreds of times in one day, and our trades are very quick. You know, I can be in, right? My accuracy is 50%, right? I can be in with 1,000 shares. I can make 10 cents. I can buy again for another opportunity and lose 10 cents, right? I can be back at zero, or I can be in the red, or I can, you know, be green. It's what the strategy is. What did you struggle with this month, right? So me, in please let me get my thoughts together. Let me get my thoughts together here. I hate when I do that, man. I don't know why. It's like the 5 different things I'm thinking, and I try to say all of it at the same time. This month, you know, I think in the moment, like trading in the moment, I didn't do as good of a job as I should have done with my willpower. And I say that because we do have emotions, right? Even the best traders will have emotions. But again, when when you're feeling fearful, when you know maybe it's a good day, things are going good, you know, not allowing yourself to go over the rail and getting too aggressive, right? In the moment, especially I think in terms of fear, like I need to have more willpower and be more courageous, be more brave, and ultimately that's gonna give me more consistency because you'll be in the moment and you'll know, like, you'll know. I think we all will know when we're dealing with something in the moment. Because I can be on a live stream looking great, looking normal, like everything is fine and dandy, but up here, there's a battle, there's a struggle. And am I winning this battle or am I losing? Am I going to surrender like a dog, as Charles Barkley would say on ESPN? And there's no way in heck I'm going to surrender. So, whilst I fought this month, there's things I could have done better, and this month I'll improve on those things, and ultimately that will reflect into more consistency day over day. Did you change anything in your trade style since the last 3 years? I haven't really changed much. It's just been, the compounding of discipline, the compounding of the experience, the compounding of the confidence. Ultimately we've been improving, and it doesn't seem like it in the moment, right? We'll say, hey, we're trying to improve, the opening statements for a day, like, hey, we're looking to be disciplined, we're looking to work on this issue which we had yesterday. Like, these things don't really seem like anything in the moment, but over the course of weeks, months, and years, and when you get the distance, you start to look back and say, man, wow. Like I watch back videos. I always say this jokingly, but it's like I want to go back and give myself, a couple slaps, because it's like, what was I thinking? But again, the lack of confidence, the lack of experience, over time, if we're actively trying, we can improve. Let's see. ZC, big supporter and student. Shout out to you, ZC. Have you, my guy, you have moved leaps and bounds the last 2 years. Crazy to watch the growth. We appreciate it. Thank you. I got those Momo scanners. Yeah, the Momo scans are pretty good when it comes to the gap scan. It's great. It's everything you'll need. They still can use some work with the high of day scan. Brent, I don't know if you're watching this. Brent is the CEO over there at Momo Pro. Brent is killing me, man. I've been begging Brent for this update for a long time, which would allow the stream section to be exactly what we would need as high day momentum hyper scalpers. And Brent has been reluctant, and the platform is great. If that small update comes in, the platform will be even better. And we did discuss a way where it could be a little bit more discreet, something like hidden away in the settings that you can toggle on and off. But there's a lot of things that they're working on there, and hopefully they can get to this request here, which will make the platform complete, in my opinion. So yeah, coming down, we got Mighty Stocks in the building. Marcelo, of course, is the other mentor and teacher here in the community, and I believe Marcelo has also had another killer month, right? So you guys can check him out. Stop faking. I don't know what to say to John. Brother, you are in the depths. If you are fake trader, do not show level 2 data. John, brother. John. The only thing I can say to you is that, luckily for your sake, this is a capitalistic society, and there's a lot of competition. And so what that means is that there's a lot of other people who day trade and invest who also are on YouTube. And so if you think that I'm a fake trader, why waste your time here, brother? What are you still doing watching on this channel? You should have already long gone, hey, nah, this guy, he's no good, unsubscribe, moved on to the next guy, right? There's some big time traders. There's a guy named Tim Sykes who've made, $500,000 in a day. So there's other options that you have. You don't have to punish yourself by watching quote unquote a fake trader here. What are you doing with yourself, brother? So, utilize the system to your advantage, right? So, Boone Wolf, any tips on holding winners longer and controlling that emotions or yeah, I'm guessing emotions. Um, Holding winners longer. A lot of it comes down to expectations and what you're expecting stock to do based off of the information that you're gathering over time, right? And even off of prior knowledge, because the history at times, it does repeat itself. So you have to execute towards your expectations, right? And not just because sometimes hey, I'm green. I think this thing can go from 5 to 550, but man, it's at 520, and like I'm just seeing that green. You know what? Let me just take this off the table. Let me just lock this in. That sometimes is a problem, right? Because again, we're not really following through to the expectation, or let's say trade idea that we've articulated, right? So we have to be disciplined even in those moments. And they say you never go broke taking profits, but maybe there's something that you could do, like maybe like scaling out, right? It's like if you feel the urge to take something because the trade is like moved up so well in your favor, then maybe you can consider scaling out a little bit, right? If you're in 1,000 shares, maybe say, you know what? All right, I'm gonna sell half at least. That way, I lock something in because maybe it does a false breakout eventually, right? And then maybe you hold the rest to a trailing stop versus your cost basis. There's different things like that you can look into to help hold longer. Scaling out is definitely an option. So, what made you start seeing profits, Jamar Brown? Um, over time, just the consistency, right? First, showing up every day. Other than that, coming in and doing my due diligence, studying, right? Studying, doing the recaps, watching over film, going back and watching over different things that can help me improve, and even learning from others, right? Which is why having a community like the Relentless Trading community is so important, because there's like-minded people trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do who are also working hard. And I can team up with these individuals to get feedback. Great guys like Marcelo, Tim. I can say, hey, Tim, are you free on such and such time? Let's watch over this video and, let's compare what we did. What did we do well? What can I improve on? Maybe, he can learn something from me and vice versa. You have study sessions, whatever, you have to do everything, right? And it's hard because, again, we're all so busy. We all have different things going on. But at the end of the day, it's like there's no excuse. Like if this is what we want to do, and we think that this is the route that can get us to our dreams, then this is just what's required. It's a requirement. Whatever it takes to be successful. Utilizing everything, being consistent with yourself, your own studies, being as disciplined as you can be, and also utilizing everything at your disposal. And so actively trying like that is what over time can get you from this monstrosity of just red days to, this is me a couple of years ago. 4 green days in a month, and look at the red days in comparison. And back in these times, I could not afford these type of losses, not even close. It's kind of crazy to see. So I can only imagine how I was feeling mentally after days like this. Craziness, man, craziness. The way how I would import my stats were a little differently. Were a little different, rather, a little different. So it doesn't accurately reflect the total number of trades. There's a setting I had to change. But yeah, we've been slowly improving over time. It shows, So let's see. What pace do you think is good to scale up? How many months should a trader go green? Um, This is a little subjective, right? Because for different people, it's been different duration, different lengths. But what I will say is, if you can, utilize that small size and see the consistency over months, right? You've been using 1 share, 10 shares, or you've been in a simulator, maybe practicing with 500, 1,000 shares, whatever it's been, and you've been seeing that consistency over months, guys, at that point, you've essentially overcome the biggest hurdle, the biggest barrier. And from there, you ease into it, right? You have to be able to assess yourself. You say, you know, Jamar, what am I comfortable with? How do I feel when I use XYZ share size? Let's just throw it out there. You're using 500 shares. You're very comfortable with that. You want to be in a place where you're slightly uncomfortable, right? You still have the control, you still have the awareness, but you're also exposing yourself to a little bit more risk. And that's how you grow, right? Let's say you go from 500 to maybe 600 shares, right? You're not as at ease, but you're still in control. And before you know it, you're doing what you're doing. You're already a consistent trader. So there's no difference between 500 and 600 shares in the grand scheme of things. Before you know it, you get comfortable with those bigger winners. Or it can be a bigger jump, right? Marcelo went from 10 shares to 1,000 shares. But you know what he was doing the entire time he's trading with 10 shares? Mentally, he's adding on the zeros at the end of it. So essentially, he was already used to using 1,000 shares before he was actually using 1,000 shares. So 2 months in the sim after proving consistency, well, after proving consistency in the sim, 2 months of live account small size, and 10 shares. Month number 3, 1,000 shares. But he's already been programming his mind. The mind is very powerful, so we have to utilize it. So I scaled 25 to 100 to 500 during 6 months. We can pull this back on screen. We'll shut it down soon. Guys, be sure to hit that thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. We are now pushing, let's see here. Well, it is a live stream. I can't tell. I'll have to check on YouTube. But I was thinking to shut it down at the hour mark. So let me double check here. If we have more time, we'll keep going. And then we'll end it off on some motivation, right? Because we all know how difficult it is. All know how difficult. We've been going for 44 minutes. Okay. Yeah, we can take a couple more questions. Drinks, we've had a lot of people say that, and it's always a good thing, right? Because ultimately the market is such a vast place when it comes to just wealth. And there's enough room for all of us. There's enough room for everybody here, right? Everybody in this relentless trading community, there's room for. Because just remember, the market is the greatest accumulation of wealth right now. Trillions of dollars. And so, whether I'm doing 26,000, you're doing 26,000, someone else is doing 26,000, there's enough. It's like the ocean, right? None of us can drink out the water that's there. So, I look forward to those drinks, man. We've had people, internally, we talk about hospitality, right? People being welcoming. We've had people say, hey, if you come to this particular type, this particular state, this particular like general area, I'm willing to house you. Like it's how, much people are passionate about what we're doing here. And it's great, right? Now, I wouldn't go to anyone's house, like randomly, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Because there's some people in the chat room, we talk every day. We do video calls. Some people in there, like I have 3 cell phones, right? I have 3 cell phones. One of them is my personal cell phone. And there's people in this chat room that even have like my actual phone number. Because I have business number for when, any sort of like business related thing. I have a number that's like a junk number, and I actually have my personal number. And there's a few people in there that actually have my personal number. And I'm talking about people that do not go to the team house, right? So if you're in there, hanging out and you're you're active, more than likely you'll get to know us, right? So those are the type of people that, I wouldn't mind swinging by if I'm in their area, right? Stop by for a few drinks. Do you use hotkeys? Yes, I do. I use my hotkeys are pretty basic. Thinkorswim do not allow for very intuitive and aggressive hotkeys, unlike DAS Trader. But yeah, I have hotkeys to buy market, sell market, to cancel, to buy the ask, to no, 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 to sell the ask, and to buy the bids. I also have, I think I have about maybe one more. I can't remember exactly what it does, but yeah. But the DAS Trader on the other hand, you guys ever catch Tim or Marcelo? Those guys have some wicked crazy hotkeys. Uh, I thought you were going to be selfish this weekend and enjoy. Guys, this reminds me, the Relentless Trader merch will be out on December 15th. So in a few more days, in 2 weeks, right? In 2 weeks, the Relentless Trader merch will be available for the public. So you guys can be looking good in your neighborhood. How do you feel about T1? Have you ever heard of that? So T1, this is in reference to a halt code. Do I have the halt website here? Yes, I do. So T1, and you guys can look this up, right? But it's a type of halt, and I believe it's halt pending news. I have to double check. Let's see, T1. I've done I did a free class. Like I put a free class on YouTube with this stuff like years ago. This is back when I was like very sharp with all my terminologies. Like I wouldn't have to look this up. Now I do. It's been so long. T1 halt meaning. Yeah, trading is halted pending the release of significant or material news. So I was right. My first guess was correct. So if a stock is going up too quickly, like too fast, too quickly, or maybe even down, it can get halted, right? And so sometimes, usually they're halted for volatility and momentum purposes. And that's a normal occurrence, right? In fact, the entirety of the market can be halted. We've seen that once before during the pandemic when things were dropping like crazy. But anyhow, so, if a stock is up, let's say 2, 3, 400%, but there's no real reason why the company should be up that much, then the SEC, which is the governing body here in the stock market, can, essentially start an ongoing investigation. So they'll reach out to the company and say, hey, how come is your stock price up so much, so quickly? What's going on? Can you guys provide us with any sort of significant data or news? Let's say the company is legit and the company is up for good reasons. Let's say it's a pharmaceutical company. Yeah, let's say it's a pharmaceutical company. They can say, let's say it's a phase trial, right? Oh, jeez. Let's say it's a clinical trial, right? Because before a new drug can come onto the market, they have to test it. And that's what's been happening recently with a lot of the stocks that we're seeing. They're biotech, biopharmaceutical stocks. And throughout the years, this sector has been very consistent in terms of having strong stocks. So you talk about, you zoom out from just the technical perspective. They're actual companies with facilities, like, they're doing controlled examinations. They'll have a controlled group. They'll inject you with whatever it is. What are the side effects? How does it feel? A few months go by, then they report to the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and it's like, hey, these results look good, blah, 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 blah. And then the news is released to the public. Guys, we have a cure for the common cold. Before you know it, the stock is up 10,000%. And then the SEC is saying, what in the world is going on? Wait, did I go in depth for a whole different thing? Holy smokes, I did. Oh my goodness, man. Okay, what time is it? Time is winding down. We'll answer one more question. Let's see. Are you investing your gains in other businesses? If yes, do you mind sharing what those are? Yes, I am. So firstly, I'm investing aggressively back into the stock market. So right now I'm a day trader. I buy and sell very actively. Over the last couple of months, I've been investing into longer hold positions, years. I'm not interested in selling for years. And so if the market goes down, if something happens like a banking crisis or another conflict, and the market goes down, I will continue to buy. I will continue to buy. I will continue to buy. I'm buying even now. I'm buying. Right. This is what I'm doing. This is not investment advice. It's not financial advice. This is what I'm doing. And so that's where a good amount of my cash has been going. And over time, as I continue to make more, I want to venture out of the market, right? Of course, I have emergency savings. Right now, I basically have zero debt. I've eliminated debt out of my life. Consumer debt has been eliminated. And I'm living very frugal. And right now, I'm in a stage where I'm looking to build wealth, right? I'm looking to build wealth, and things are looking up. I think the future is pretty bright. As a community, we're growing, and as a trader, we're improving. We're gonna continue to diversify. I think the next step after this will be real estate. But again, as someone who's coming from nothing, in fact, coming from the negatives, I have a lot of catching up to do. So even on a month like this, like, all of this gain isn't just going straight into investment. There are some stuff that you still have to take care, like the bottom line things you got to take care of, and then whatever is left over, we'll try to be as wise as we can with what we know as we go. Um, but yeah, SEC approved T+1 settlement May in May 2020. Does this have to do with cash accounts and how quickly they can settle the cash? I have to look this up because the news for this, it came out a while ago. The news for this came out a while back. But that's good news, right? The next step is for them to get rid of the PDT rule and people can trade freely, because it really doesn't make too much sense. The only good thing I can think about it is that it's good for people who are new. It kind of forces you to manage risk if you're only trading 3 times every 5 days as a day trader. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't approach the market in the right way, even doing that, you can blow up the account. So I think they might as well get rid of the PDT. Like, who comes up with, hey, you need 25K to trade unlimitedly? It seems like something that someone decided, rather than, like, or maybe I'm just talking out of ignorance and I don't know, which could be true. But yeah. So I'm going to go over the closing statements. Sorry for all those questions I did not get to answer, right? And the closing statements here are going to be motivation, right? For those of us who are struggling, for those of us who are having a hard time, right? The people who are doing well, try to keep it up. But let's talk about the people who are having a hard time. The people who are red every day and it seems like the thunderstorm, there's no light in sight, right? There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Because, I understand how it feels, man. I understand all too well what it feels like to be red and to not make money. And there are days where the doubt even come into your mind of, am I going to be able to do this? Is this something that I can actually do? But what I will say is that first and foremost, remember that what we're doing here is very difficult, right? It's not easy. It never was. It never will be. And so it requires you to be an even better version of yourself. If you're someone who is read consistently and you believe to be your best self right now, then the market in this type of style and strategy might not be the place for you. If you don't think that you can improve, then it might be best to put the effort somewhere else. But if you're struggling now, but you're seeing that you're making a lot of mistakes when you're reviewing, you know, and also another thing is too is to again make sure you're doing everything you can to actively improve, right? Something that some people still don't do, and I hear them say, "Hey, I'm having a hard time," is recording their screen. If you're not recording your screen, right? Like my students, they don't have these issues because we beat it into their brains of what they need to do, right? But for anybody who's just a general viewer watching on, there are certain things that you must do. Like that's not even debatable. Studying, reviewing your screen, those things are not even like something you can think of. That's like breathing in this space. If you want to have air to survive, you must be studying and you must be reviewing your trading every single day. I can go back any day the last few years and show you exactly how I traded because I have the videos all saved. Even from years, even from 2020, I have videos to this day. So that allows you to increase your screen time, right? Because experience is a big role, right? And if you're reviewing every day, it's like trading twice, three times in one day. You can speed up your journey, your learning curve, right? So everything that you must do, you need to do, right? Anything that you can think of doing that can help you, that's what you must do. We have to go hard because again, the field is difficult and it requires a lot. You know, we're not out there building bridges and tunnels physically, but mentally it's very draining and it's like psychological warfare and torture at times. Yes, it's like going to battle in some ways, you know. It's some strange stuff, man, that happens to your mind when you're out there in the market. So, you know, it's almost like tough love I'm giving out right now, but I think that's what's necessary for us to survive and then thrive in this space. So first, let's make sure we do everything that is necessary to ensure success. And other than that, if you know that you can improve, keep working, keep grinding, and remain patient. And over time, over the weeks, months, and years, you can improve. You know, it's not guaranteed, but it's possible, right? And that's all we ever really needed, man. As myself, you know, coming from the community that I'm coming from, like, that's all I ever needed to know, man, is that there's a chance. And it's why I'm not ever worried right now. You know, even if trading ceases to exist tomorrow, I just need to know that I have my body, my brain, and that I can function, and I will find something, man, because, you know, it's tough out here. You know, no matter where you're coming from, you know, who you are, you know, the market is going to make you find out who's boss. So it's not a place for ego. It's not a place for pride. You have to really be disciplined. You have to be consistent with yourself. And in doing that, you know, you'll give yourself the best odds of being successful. You know, right now I'm standing up. Relentless, why are you standing? Because when I sit down, my legs start to irritate me. And trying to trade with irritated legs, you know, in fact, when I had this standing desk, the day I got this standing desk, the next day my profits increased. I didn't even realize it till I looked back and checked, but, you know, you want to be comfortable, you know, physically as you're here, and, you know, whatever your situation is, you push through it, you improve, and, you know, failure is not an option, right? Let's do whatever is necessary to ensure success. And when I say failure is not an option, that even if you're to say, you know what, okay, I don't think this trading thing is for me. If you approach it in the right way, where you're managing and mitigating your risk, you will not have lost anything, you know, really, right? You would have learned a lot of lessons, and you can utilize those lessons in the next venture you take on, you know, whether it's a different sector in the market or a different trade style in the market or just something totally different, right? Because we don't take losses here. If you guys didn't know, we only take lessons, and we move forward, and we push forward. Well, I think that will do it. There's still a couple of comments and questions coming in, but we're going to shut it down here at the hour mark. You know, it's always a pleasure to come on here in front of the people. You know, I try to keep it as real as possible. How I am on this camera is exactly how I am in real life. You know, ask the guys, you know, there's no trick, there's no gimmicks, right? This is what it is. This is what it comes down to. We got to put in the work. We got to put in the time. And, you know, hopefully we can get to where we need to be. So check out those links down below. Right, check out the link for the Discord, which is our chat room. And check out the link for the classes, right? If you want to get involved with MMU, which is the day trading program that I have, you guys can feel free to check it out, right? Merciless markets, because as we know, these markets are merciless. They're unforgiving. And so if you want to be a part of the community, you can. We do have a massive discount coupon code DREAM for 50% off our flagship platform here, and Trading with Tim. If you guys are not familiar with Tim, guys, he is the third mentor and teacher here in the community, and Tim is absolutely mooning. You guys can check him out on YouTube at Trading with Tim. All right, so check out everything we have to offer. Utilize the coupon codes. If you're someone who cannot afford the classes but want to get involved still, you guys can check out the crash course that we have, which does involve, includes a few chapters, right? It includes a few free chapters, a few free chapters going over the patterns, right? There's some general chapters, you know, and then there's also chapters going over the patterns, the edges, and there are some live archives. That's the live trading videos from myself, Marcelo, and Tim, showing you, you know, how we did with all of our instruments, right? Like including our level 2 and everything that we have. So yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it for the video. You know, for someone who has a course, I really ought to be pushing this course more, but I really, it's there for people who want it. You know, I'm never too aggressive with it. I could be, maybe I should, because it is great material, right? Like if this course, let's say, you know, I was born into a different body or something, and this course was here, I really think I could have been much, much better than I am now, quicker, because all the information is in one place and it's organized chronologically. And, you know, it's there, right? It's there. Is it guaranteed? Of course not, because nothing in life is guaranteed. I would have loved to be able to say it was guaranteed, but I can't, right? Life isn't guaranteed, and no business is. There's always risks. But where there's risks, there's reward. And so, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. Keep chasing your greatness. Guys, that's going to do it for me. It's been Relentless Trader. It's been a really great stream. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be live tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. trading live. I'll see you guys then. Stay safe. Stay green. I am, of course, signing out.